All right, guys. Joining us for our first show of the year. Our next guest was last in UFC 296 when he fought Leon Edwards for the UFC welterweight title. And now he joins us to look back and also forward towards what's next. We're kicking 2024 off with a bang. Colby Covington, welcome back, man, to Submission Radio. It's been ages. How are you? Happy New Year, man. Belated Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's, boys. The biggest and best year yet to come. We talked about this for a long time. 2024, man, it's just all the numerological reasons and the numbers behind it. It's going to be a big year for us all.
100%, man. It's going to be a massive one. It's been a little over a month since UFC 296. There's a lot to discuss, a lot to unpack. How have you been, man? How's your life been since UFC 296?
My life's been great. I'm living the American dream. I'm one of the highest paid UFC fighters, and the UFC takes great care of me. So I'm very privileged and thankful to be a UFC fighter. They took a working class blue collar kid like myself from a small town in Oregon who was never supposed to make it out. I was just supposed to work in the mill. So now I'm a multi-millionaire, famous athlete, one of the best fighters of all time. So I'm doing good. The result wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't my night, but, I broke my foot right away and couldn't plant or explode off it to use the wrestling and pressure I planned to use. I didn't want to disclose this information until I had the x-rays back home, but here they are. Here's the images.
Right. So we're looking at the images right now and appreciate you supplying them. Talk us through this injury, man. How exactly did it happen? And did you know straight away that it was that bad?
Yeah, I knew straight away it was bad because I just, it was the first kick I threw. It landed right on his elbow. He was an orthodox, so I kind of got a little overzealous and I wanted to rip a high kick to his orthodox side because I didn't know if he would be, defensively sound like he is from southpaw. So, the first kick I threw, a high kick, it was kind of like a middle kick and it landed on his elbow. And haters will still find a way to hate on me for fighting 25 minutes on one leg while landing over 100 more strikes than Leon. But you know what? My haters are so broke, they can't even pay attention. So fuck them.
What goes through your mind when something like that happens? Because, it was a massive fight. The stakes were huge. And we'll sort of talk about that a little bit later on. But you've obviously got a game plan. You've been working hard to sort of make this dream come true. And then your foot's broken in the very first kick that's thrown. What goes through your mind at that moment? Are you like, shit, what do I do now? What happens?
Yeah, just, a panic type mode. You're like, oh, fuck, now I'm compromised. Your foot's hurt, and I can feel it throbbing and the fire start to really hit my foot and start to feel that excruciating type pain. So, the funny thing is most people that, are out there, can't even fill an Excel spreadsheet when they get a paper cut. So imagine that, I'm fighting in a 25-minute world title fight against one of the pound for pound greatest fighters on earth. And here I am compromised on one leg. So, I remember going back to the end of the first round and I always sit down. I want to hear my coaches and just breathe. And just that first round, just kind of, I'm chilling, I'm doing what I love for a living. I'm sitting, just kind of breathing, relaxing until the next round. I didn't even sit because it was throbbing so bad. I'm like, fuck, if I sit down right now, it might be so much pain. Like I might not be able to stand back up off the stool. So, there was just a lot of panic at the end of the first round. Like, fuck, I couldn't listen to my coaches. Everything was just like, it just felt like it was just zoning out because all I could care about was my foot and not being able to put any weight on it. And especially my back foot, the foot that I plant off of, the one I explode off, my left foot. I'm a southpaw. So my left foot is the most important, crucial foot in the fight for me because that's what I'm exploding off of. That's how I'm shooting my takedowns. That's how I'm punching. That's how I'm putting on my pace. And immediately I'm compromised and I can't do the things that I normally do. So mainly just, a feeling of panic and compromise.
I can't imagine what it would be like in that moment, and especially like all the game plan that you guys had worked on. And at that moment, did you still feel like you could win, or were you just like, dude, I can't even like get in there. I can't even wrestle properly.
I mean, in the first moment, that it happens, it's like, fuck, dude, like it's so early in the fight. Like we're not even a minute into a 25-minute fight. So the first, like couple rounds is just survive, just don't get finished out here, on this main stage. Don't let this guy, just completely outclass you because you're on one leg. It's about survival, kill or be killed in that moment. So, I think it's just it takes away the game plan. My game plan was to go forward. That's how I always fight. Everybody knew something was up with me in that fight. They knew that's not how I fight. That's, I feel embarrassed. Even though I'm on one leg, I still feel embarrassed. I should have been able to go forward, attack this guy, because once I knew it was in the later rounds, like the fourth and fifth round, I knew, you know what, whatever, dude, let him take me out on a stretcher. Let me not be able to physically walk out of here. I'm going to give my all these last rounds and prove that I'm a better fighter and I'm the best welterweight on earth. So, I feel like I did that. I landed over 100 strikes on Leon. He landed like what, 50, 60 strikes? Like, how is that so impressive? How does that win you a world championship title fight? So, I doubled the outstrike output on him with one leg, took him down, more control time, more takedowns, out scrambled. I thought I won the fight still on one leg. So, I proved a lot to myself, and, I proved a lot to the American people that our will cannot be broken and we will come stronger. There's a reason, boys, that the rear view mirror is smaller than the windshield, because the windshield is supposed to be bigger because we're looking ahead. We're prepared for the future. We're not going to worry about what happened in the rear view.
Dude, well, hats off to you, because people don't realize how painful these kinds of injuries are. Most people wouldn't have continued. I know. And by the way, so what was the official prognosis? What was it? Was a fracture of was it your ankle or was it your shin? Where was it?
No, it was the midfoot, like literally the top of the foot. It's called the median cuneiform bone, and it had 3 fractures. You can see in this image that it looks like a turkey leg, like it's like a Y. There's a fracture going this way, there's a fracture going that way, and then there's like a fracture going down. So there was 3 different fractures on my midfoot, on the cuneo median bone, and it's just unfortunate. I feel like I was robbed of a title shot, and that's not what I'm capable of. And the guy fought me at 30%, and that's what he did. This is the best fighter in the world, and he couldn't even get a guy out of there on one leg. It's pathetic. I outstruck him. I think I beat him that night, and I proved a lot to myself, that I can get through a world title fight on 25 minutes and finish the fight on top, dominating, punching this guy in the face. So I knew that if this would have been the streets, or this would have been a life and death situation where there's no time limit, he has no chance against me. I destroy him and I take his life. So, it is what it is. I'm not going to look back. I didn't want to make excuses, and I'm not here making excuses. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to come back stronger, and the best is yet to come for me.
Yeah. And so hats off to you, because most people have just given up, sitting down on the stool and said, hey guys, I have a break on my leg, in my foot, and I can't continue. You continued on, but yeah, you got a lot of criticism from people. They're like, he didn't look the same. People were saying, oh, it's because maybe he's older, maybe he's got ring rust. What was your reaction over that break? Because afterwards, after the fight happened, because you kind of put yourself out there with a hurt foot to, make sure the fight still goes on. But I guess there was still a lot of negativity from certain fans that were kind of criticizing you for various reasons about that performance. It must have been difficult, because a part of you is like, hey, I went out there on this one foot and I still fought these rounds. And it must have been a little bit disappointing that people didn't recognize that you were sort of putting yourself out there in that position to, in a lot of ways, still keep the fight going.
Yeah, definitely. I thought it was unwarranted, but the fans are the fans, and I respect the fans. They're allowed to have their own opinion. They don't have to have the same exact opinion of me. I think that they were quick to rush to an opinion and judgment without knowing the facts. This is the facts, man. I'm on one leg. I have literally 3 different fractures in the midfoot. Like, I can't even literally step on my foot. I was literally stepping on the outside of the foot because it was so painful on the inside. So it completely compromised and affected my performance. And like, these people, they're just, they're throwing, glass rocks they're throwing stones out of a glass house. These guys, they don't go to work if they're sick one day. Oh, you got a guy like LeBron James, he gets cramps, you won't see him for a month in the playoffs. So, I'm fighting at the highest level against, a pound for pound guy, the best fighter in the world, and I'm still holding my own. I thought I got the better of him, and I had a path to victory on one foot. So these people shouldn't be judging me because, they take sick days off. Oh, they got this little cold. Oh, they won't be to work for weeks on end. I'm out here giving my all, still fighting tooth and nail, for the people, to put on a show and entertain the fans. So, it's okay. I'm okay with criticism. Constructive criticism is good. So, I promise you, now I have a chip on my shoulder that's bigger than it's ever been in my career, and I'm going to come back better than I've ever came back in my career next fight.
What did the UFC say about this? Have you had the conversation with them? I imagine that, you know, they would know about like the injury and stuff, because obviously on the night, like Dana was a bit critical. Like Dana, sometimes it's always interesting to see how he handles a certain performance or a certain loss, because sometimes people will lose and he'll still give him a ton of praise. Sometimes he'll, you know, sort of go in a little bit. You know, he had a few comments, but did you speak to him afterwards once this injury came out, and what is it like now?
You know, I haven't been able to be in touch with him. You know, I'm in touch with, Hunter Campbell, and, they're aware of what's going on. I wasn't able to talk to you guys because you've been on break, so I haven't really revealed this information to anybody, but the UFC is aware of my foot and getting me the best care possible. Shout out to the UFC, the medical staff, and just the whole UFC. I mean, they take the best care possible of us athletes and make sure that we get the rehab and all things necessary so we can come back 100%. So, they're aware. They know what's going on now. And I remember he called me like right after the fight as I was walking out. I was like, hey, man, what's going on? And I didn't want to be like, hey, my foot's broken, because I had to wait to see the x-ray first to know for sure. I was like, maybe it's just really sore. I know I couldn't walk on it. I knew it was really badly hurt and injured, but maybe it was just sore. So I didn't want to say anything, speak too soon before I had the absolute facts. So they're aware of what's going on. Now I know the facts. I was on a broken foot the whole fight, from second one. And it is what it is. I like my boss telling me, giving me hard, rough criticism, because it makes me want to work harder and prove them wrong. But I respect Dana's opinion. He's done great things. He's changed my life, from a blue collar kid to, a millionaire athlete. So, I have no bad things to say about Dana. I'm very thankful to UFC, the medical treatment they got me, and I'm getting the best care possible, and they know what's going on. And, no fights have been offered. I know there's a lot of typical clickbait merchant out there, the fake news looking to use the biggest name in the game to farm engagement. But, there's been no fights offered. I'm not even healthy yet, but the UFC is aware of that. And, we're going to come back stronger. I'm going to rewrite the wrongs of the past.
Yeah, so that's by the way, man. Yeah, well handled. I know a lot of people in this similar situation might be jumping to facts. Hey, I broke something. You wanted to make sure, and we appreciate you telling us all about it today, because it really does. It's a bit of an eye opener. Just on you not being offered a fight. We've been out of the loop for a bit, but we see, there are some people out there saying, oh, Colby was offered Shavkat and he turned him down and all this kind of stuff, just to sort of write the narrative. You mentioned no fights have been offered. So would that be incorrect? No one's offered you any fights, especially with Shavkat or anybody else in the division?
No, nobody else in the division. How could I be offered a fight when I'm, just still walking in a walking boot? Like, I still have the walking boot on for another couple days, Mm-hmm. So, I can't even think about fighting until I can get, close to 100%. I'm, 60% right now. Why would the UFC offer me a fight? Especially the UFC knows what's going on. They're in touch with the doctors. They're getting me the best care possible. They're getting me the rehab and treatment that I need to get back to the UFC octagon as soon as possible. I want to be back in there tomorrow, so, no fights have been offered. That's complete fake news. But that's what these journalists do. That's what separates you guys from the rest. You guys are all about facts. You come with truth and honesty. You do real journalism. These guys don't do journalism. They just like to do clickbait merchant stuff, and just so they can farm engagement. All they care about is getting money in their pockets off the back of the fighters' necks. So, it's embarrassing that they're out there saying these things. It's obviously not true. The UFC wouldn't offer me a fight. They know I can't even walk. I'm not even training yet. So, yeah, it's a lot of fake news out there. There's a lot of big fights, though, when I come back. You got Cup Boy out there who's talking, Hey, let's be honest, guys. How many last names do you realistically think the UFC can fit on those UFC fight kicks? Because I'm wondering, from Machado, Garry, Luck, Neil, whatever his last names are going to be, all the guys that have been sleeping with his wife, allegedly. He hasn't denied it yet, but allegedly. But, yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? How many names do you think the UFC can fit on those fighter kits?
I don't know. It depends. Is it still Venom, or are we talking Reebok? Are we talking another Giblet Melendez? No, but in all honesty, Ian Garry did put you on his hit list for 2024. What did you think when you saw that? I think you were right after Jeff Neal. It seems like he's potentially targeting you after the Jeff Neal fight.
Right after the Busboy fight, if he can get through the Busboy and UFC deems that to be the biggest and best business the UFC can do in the welterweight division, then let's do it. the UFC knows what Colby Chaos Covington is about. CCI, Colby Covington Incorporated, has never turned down one fight. I fought in the pound for pound greats, the champions. I've been a champion. I am the champion. I'm the best fighter in welterweight on earth right now. That's just facts. You can have your opinion based decision, but I know what's facts. I've been in there. I felt it, so I know what I'm capable of, and I know I am the best on earth right now. So whatever the UFC deems necessary, there's a lot of options, boy. We got Gilbert coming up, that fat lesbian, just like Connor said. He's coming up in March. If he beats that other kid that he's fighting, whatever the scrub's name is, then that's a possibility. I think Wonder Boy guys make the most sense. The ultimate nice guy versus the ultimate bad guy. He's came on this show, Submission Radio, and had a lot of things to say. Oh, Colby's going to get knock out Colby. Oh, all these things. He's number 6 in the world. I'm number 5 in the world right now. That fight makes the most sense. So, let's do karate versus wrestling. Let's get this done. He's had a lot of things to say. So I want to hold his words accountable in the media. Let's see if he's about that. Let's see if he can talk the talk and walk the walk like myself. So there's a lot of fights that are going to present themselves, but that's all up to the UFC. I will not turn down one fight. I'll fight anybody on earth. I'm the best in the world right now. So whoever the UFC deems necessary and decides is the biggest and best business, then we'll sit down and we'll make that fight happen when I'm healthy.
Hey, I was gonna say it'll be interesting. Like the Ian's fight, are you gonna be it's gonna be a weird situation where you're gonna almost be sort of rooting for him to win so that you get this chance to get in there with him, or do you? And by the way, do you think he will beat Geoff in this fight leading into you?
I have no idea. I've never watched the Busboy fight other than when he got destroyed by the Wonder Boys. So that's why I want to fight Wonder Boy, because he's at the top of the division. We're two guys that have been the top of the division for the longest, and we need to square off. He's had things to say, but as far as the Busboy goes, I don't know. Even if the Busboy beats him, is he still going to have that Busboy job at Outback? Is he still going to be delivering blooming onions to people? Who knows? But, whatever the UFC decides, and, I'm not here to pick and choose fights. I'll let UFC do that. They're the greatest company on earth. They know how to promote fights and what sells and what's the biggest and best business. So I'll let them decide, and I'll come out and do what I do, defend my honor as being the best welterweight on earth. And most importantly, my greatest honor is Donald Trump's favorite fighter. So I will come back and recorrect the wrongs. Thankful for President Trump standing with me through this time. He knows what's went on and, all the stuff. And he's given me crazy support and encouragement, even though he's, out here defending America, trying to close our borders, trying to keep world peace and take back this country from the swamp creatures that have it right now. So, I'm very thankful to President Trump, and the best is yet to come. We're going to make America great again, and I'm going to make the welterweight division of the UFC great again.
It's funny because obviously heading into the Leon fight, a lot of the narrative was obviously like, this is the last title shot for you. But speaking to you now, there's no doubt in your mind, you're still working towards that next title shot, right? I know after the fight, people were like, man, I don't know, did age catch up to Colby? But at this point, I get the sense that you are 100% going after the title. And I'm also curious from your perspective, what does that trajectory look like for you? What does that path to the title, to another title shot look like for you at the moment, Colby?
I am the title of this division. I'm the welterweight savior. I'm the biggest draw in this division. There's a reason everybody calls my name. So fights are easy to get and dunk on these nerds. So, I'm King of Miami. I'm America's champ, the people's champ, Donald Trump's favorite fighter. So I'm in a title fight every time I fight, everybody knows that. So, but to get back to that undisputed title, whoever's the biggest and best name that the UFC tells me I have to go through to get there, then that's what I'm willing to do. I want that title more than I want to breathe, more than I want to live. So I'm gonna keep fighting for it. I'm in my prime. I'm 35 years young. I haven't taken any damage in my career. Especially in that last fight, Leon didn't leave a scratch on my face. There was a couple little tiny bruises on my leg. Big fucking deal. I landed double the strikes as him. So, I know I'm the welterweight champion. Right? I know I'm the best welterweight on earth. Just because, three judges didn't decide it for me that night, that's not going to affect, my future and how I train and my preparation every day. I work hard, blue collar American. I'm a 24/7, 365 fighter. I'm not a part-time fighter. So as long as I'm in this thing and I'm fully invested in my career, I'm going to keep getting better and I'm going to keep working hard. I'm not halfway in, halfway out. I'm fully in on this, and I want that welterweight title more than I want to live. So whatever it takes to get back there, I'm willing to do, and the UFC knows that. So whoever they put in front of me, I promise you, the chip on the shoulder, Colby's coming back, and he's going to finish this and he's going to rewrite all the wrongs of the past.
Yeah, man, I can't wait. Just quickly, before we go back to that broken foot, there's something I wanted to ask you about it. But while we're talking about breaks, there is a better way to break your bad habits, especially if you're someone who's struggling going cold turkey. And we're talking about our good friends at Fume, and they look at the problem in a different way. Not everything in a bad habit is wrong. So instead of a drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from your habit? Fume is an innovative, award-winning flavored air device that does exactly that. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses all natural, delicious flavors. You get it? Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you're free to enjoy and makes replacing your bad habit easy. It fills the void in a natural, guilt-free way. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing while breaking your bad habit. Stopping, it's something that we all put off because it's hard, but switching to Fume is easy, enjoyable, and even fun. Fume has served over 150,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that it can't be you. Join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com/submissionradio or scan the QR code and use the code submissionradio to get 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com and use the code submissionradio to save an additional 10% off on your order today. Isn't that right, Dennis?
That's right, Cass. And Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Roses are red, violets are blue. Trim your balls and your date will thank us too. Valentine's Day is knocking and Manscaped is the remedy for the love that Love Doctor has ordered. And the prescription is the all-new Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, designed to elevate your grooming game and your shine like the heartthrob you are. Man, that package, of course, has the super sexy Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. The electric trimmer features skin-safe technology, guarding your V-Day treasures against any grooming mishaps. And, of course, you've also got the beautiful Weed Whacker 2.0 nose hair trimmer, Manscaped's liquid formulations, 2 free goodies, the Shed Travel Bag, which I use religiously, and the Boxers 2.0, which are super comfy. Check it out today. Get 20% off with the free shipping code submission. 20% off and free shipping now. Manscaped really changing the game when it comes to Valentine's Day. And for all the bearded kings out there, don't forget the Beard Hedger Pro Kit as well, Cass. It will shape your scruff effortlessly, and it's just an absolute lifesaver. I have mine on my in my bathroom there, charged and ready to go, and it saves me 2 seconds and I'm ready and out the door. Manscaped is really a game changer this Valentine's Day.
That's right, man. Valentine's Day around the corner. Time for some action. Let's get them balls sucked. Also, dude, just super quickly, by the way, John Jones is coming this Saturday. Did you know this? John Jones is coming here to Melbourne, Australia. He's going to be at Invictus Mixed Martial Arts Saturday, February 10th, 3 to 8 p.m. So you got to get in quick if you want to catch him. Tickets are available. We've got a link in the description below. But how's this, right? You got the VIP lounge experience. There's also from 3 to 6 p.m. you can watch him train and coach. There's also like a group training session. There's a meet and greet from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and it includes John Jones, training, coaching, doing all sorts of stuff. You can get a photo with John Jones. So that's pretty awesome. UFC heavyweight champ coming down to our little land down under this Saturday, 10th of February. And the good guys at Elite Sports Bets are bringing him down. So check out the link in the description below if you want to get some tickets. We'll probably pop in and do the cheeky pop in. Anyway, Colby, going back to you, man. I just wanted to clarify. So did you mention there was a surgery that you needed, or was it just like rehab process that you needed to go through?
Yeah, thankfully it wasn't displaced, so I didn't have to get surgery. It didn't go into ligament or there's no displaced fractures. So it's just it's just a time thing. 8 to 12 weeks of healing, and then probably another 3 to 4 weeks of getting my footing back and being able to plan off it. You got to think the last 7-8 weeks I've been compensating just walking on my right foot, with a boot. So I'm gonna have to build up some strength on my other hip again and on my other side of my leg. From not having any pressure on it the last 2 months. So thankfully no surgery, and I'll be back in no time. By summer for sure I'll be back ready to main event, headline, do the biggest and best business in the UFC. And for sure this summer people are going to be shocked. It's going to be the nerd apocalypse. There's going to be so many fucking snowflakes out there crying, having all their nerd tears out there. Oh no, Colby's title shot, he doesn't deserve it, he hasn't beat no contenders. I'm the greatest. All I've done is beat first ballot Hall of Famer after first ballot Hall of Famer, headline after headline, Madison Square Garden, history, freaking fourth highest gate ever. So I'm coming back stronger than ever, boys. And the gravy train is just starting for Colby and the Submission Radio team.
Yeah, man. Well, I can't wait. And by the way, like, so many names in that division, so many new names, so many new fights, and you've just made that comeback late last year, man. We can't wait to see you back again. Thank you so much for opening up to us and telling us a little bit more about your injury and what's been going on. Guys, make sure to follow Colby Covington on his journey back this summer at Colby Cov MMA. We can't wait to see who's next, man. And, big year ahead. Thanks so much for being our first guest of 2024. It means a lot to us, man.
I appreciate you guys. God bless all the people of Australia, Submission Radio. God bless America, and may the best be yet to come for us all.